You have found the Open Eclectic Podcast, where Nate and Josh talk about everything from mobile games to books to pet peeves to cars to toys. Our interests run eclectic and we're open to more. Welcome to the Open Eclectic. Good
evening, or morning, or afternoon, or whatever it is where you are. It's evening right now. Josh and I are here. We're back with another super exciting episode of the Open Eclectic. Today we're going to be talking about The Sopranos.
That's right. No preamble today. We're jumping right into it.
Hey. Oh! That was a little spicy. It's going to be, but you got to get the real, mafioso, hey.
Oh, don't.
Josh, what's up? What'd you do to your car? It's ugly. And you'd be like, oh. All right, that was a bad example.
I got it from your mother.
Oh.
I don't know.
Hey. Hopefully I'm not blowing people's eardrums out with my sound levels. I'm still something below a novice audio engineer-ish person. It's all right. A hobby.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, just go with it.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
That's great, but you got to get over it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got into that part yet.
Oh, maybe. I'm still only season 3.5. So I've warned everybody. I've warned my family that over the Christmas break for me, I'm going to make some serious progress.
Okay, so what are you
at least
on
2
right
episodes?
Now? You said you're on season 3?
Yeah.
So you're halfway done?
I'm 3.5-ish.
So
we're talking about, like Nate said, Sopranos, American crime drama that ran for 6 seasons starting January 10, 1999, Mr. Anderson.
Man. So, as Josh said, he's about halfway through watching it. I watched it was it summer when I watched it? Everything just runs together, and it's man, it's December now.
Yeah.
A few months ago, whenever that was, I ran through it. I never actually, so as Josh said, it started in 99. I never watched any of it while it was actually on.
Same.
Well, for one, when I was a kid, we didn't have HBO.
That was the thing. It was the original, people went crazy for Game of Thrones and stuff and talked about premium TV on a paid service or whatever, but Sopranos was the OG.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think there was one episode, which I don't know if it's probably a little further along than you've been, but I remember when I was watching it, going through the series this summer, and I saw the episode, and I was like, I vaguely recall seeing this, when I went to visit my mom. She had HBO, so I was just flipping through the channels or something, and I just happened to see that part. And I was like, I remember that. And that was it. And then I tried starting Sopranos a couple years ago, and I watched the first episode. And sometimes it's you start watching a show and you're just not feeling it, you're just not into it.
Yeah.
You're just and I know that it takes a little bit to get into any show that you start watching, just because you got to kind of feel it out a little bit. But I watched the first episode, maybe part of the second, and I was just this guy's mother, she's just stressing me out. And I just,
she doesn't like that kind of talk.
I don't like that kind of talk. Yeah, I just wasn't into it, so I just didn't watch it. And then, I finally jumped in and started watching it, and I was like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to see it through. And I did. And I even watched the Many Saints of New York as well.
Of Newark?
Yes. Newark.
It's not New York, it's Newark.
I didn't say New York.
I don't know. Play the tape back, John.
Whatever. Maybe I did. If I did, I meant Newark. Because they ain't from New York.
They're from Newark.
They're from
New Jersey. Yeah. Yeah, I started it. I watched the first couple of episodes because I picked up the first season from the library. Our library here has movies, which still weirds me out a little bit, but it kind of is an okayish replacement for Blockbuster, I guess, because you can find stuff there that's not streaming. And I didn't have HBO Go or anything at the time, or HBO Max, whatever their streaming service is called.
It's Max now.
Is it Max now?
It's Max now.
It used to be Go. I don't know what we're doing. I feel like that guy from Short Circuit who's given Steve Guttenberg a hard time, and he's like, "We're gonna do this ASAP." He's like, "Okay, send in a couple of choppers." Or no, he's like, "Send in a couple of Hueys." And he's like, "What's a Huey?" "It's a helicopter." "Babe, won't you read your memos?" He's like, "I thought they were choppers." Anyway, I feel like that guy. But yeah, I got it from the library. Watched the first couple of episodes. Just didn't have time to like watch it right then. I was like, "This is really good. I just don't have time to watch it." And then I don't know, made time more recently. And then I liked it enough that I even sent seasons 1 and 2 to Eli while he was on deployment. So I don't know if he watched them, but I sent them to him.
And for people listening at home, Eli is Josh's Broheim.
Yep, Eli's my brother. He's a Marine.
He's a bad dude. If you don't like The Sopranos, I'll come to your house. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, he might still come to your house, but anyway.
He doesn't do house calls anymore.
I'm not in that line of work anymore.
But yeah, so I just plowed through the first, 2 seasons, I think. And then I've been slowly making my way through the third because I do have access to HBO Max now, which is very nice. I don't have to go to the library or anything.
You don't have to piecemeal it together.
Yeah, I can watch it at my own pace. And some of it really, like, I knew it was going to be like a serious show, but like when people talk about serious shows, like keeping in mind this is the beginning of 1999, like we weren't quite done with like the weird fashion phases of like we were still yet to have the matching denim suits from Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. So like that's where we were at in the era of like what was serious, So then when I watched it though, I was like, oh, so I don't know if this is going to be like a serious show, if I'm going to watch it and be like, oh, they were serious for the time.
You're talking about like,
because episode 1, he's on his rant about the ducks.
Yeah.
Tony Soprano.
Oh, the ducks.
First episode, he's like out in his bathrobe, t-shirt, and boxers, and he freaks out and he goes inside. He's like, "Hey, you guys gotta come out to the pool. The ducks are back. Come on. And I'm like, what?
It's his family, Josh.
What? Okay. Why not?
Is he scattered like bird seed like all over for him? Or
Bread.
It's bread. Is it just bread?
I think it was just bread, or yeah. And it was I was just like, oh, okay. And then he has his, a lot of the premise of the show is like he has panic attacks and goes to see a psychiatrist. I'm not sure what Milfy's
therapist,
Dr. Milfy's profession is.
Psychiatrist. I got, hey, we got this pulled up. You got the wikis.
Got the wikis.
Casting, crew, music, set, cast, and characters. God, everyone's gonna listen to this and be like, "You have the worst accents."
Man, I hope so. So you know what I found? I did a little research into the show today. I wanted to look in and make sure my ducks were in a row.
Whoa.
And I found out, speaking of podcasts, that Chrissy, aka in real life his name is Michael Imperioli, and Bobby Steve Sherpa. Sherpa. Anyway, they have a podcast that they started in 2020 called Talking Sopranos, where they do like episode breakdowns and stuff. Mm-hmm. Were you telling me about that the other day?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But okay, hold on. So back to Melfi, or the therapist that Tony sees. She's a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was telling you about that, but I've heard of it. I haven't listened to any of it.
Apparently they've got like 5 million downloads already, and they have like members of the cast back on the show. And so also, did you hear about the other Sopranos podcast? Because that's the big one. Like it's won awards and all kinds of stuff. So Drea Di Matteo, who is Adriana, who is Chrissy's lady in the show, does a podcast with a guy named, or maybe a lady, I'm not sure, Chris Cushman, maybe. Anyway, it was originally called Made Women, which I thought was a cool name, but they retooled it to Gangster Goddess Broadcast. which I think is a lot cooler. And they also are doing like episode like watching and breakdown.
Yeah,
stuff.
I had heard a little bit that she was. I think I'd heard that she was starting a podcast, but I didn't know the name of it or anything. I'd heard that like she hadn't like been on this Talking Sopranos one, and
did she get mad?
I don't know.
Aid got mad. Oh, Chrissy's in trouble now.
So if you're a Redditor like Josh and I are, The Sopranos actually has a very, very active subreddit. Have you been on it at all?
I have stayed off of it.
Probably for the best.
In the interest of avoiding spoilers for beyond where I'm
Probably
at.
for the best.
So, but I really want to go on and see what people are talking about too.
Yeah. Just sub when you're done with the show. I will say that most of the posts you're going to be inundated with quotes.
Oh yeah.
And it's hilarious because it's all, it's all mafia and Jersey stuff. And after you've watched the show and you see the quote, like you can hear it, you're like, ah.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. It gets a little bit old sometimes because you're like, man, I just wish they would be, maybe they could just be a little more, sometimes be more serious on these posts. But I mean, they are. It's fine. But I'd seen some talk that.
So Tony's mom has a very peculiar accent, even in a show of like very interesting and well done accents. She is such a crabby old lady who gives everybody a hard time except Junior.
She's a psycho.
Yeah,
she's nuts.
She's definitely unbalanced. But yeah, so that was like one of the early lines from her because Tony cusses or something in front of her, and she's like, "Oh, I don't like that kind of talk."
There's another line like. I think it's from that episode where he's like asking her why she doesn't answer the phone, and she's like, "It was dark out."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Ma, the phone is an auditory, like is an ear thing, and darkness is an eye thing, or something."
Yeah.
So, but I've seen some talk on the Sopranos sub about like Drea's like, she clearly did a really great job on the show. I think she maybe won some awards for some of her. I don't know if it was for what season it was for, but like she had almost kind of been like not really like recognized for her, like for the work that she did, like, and how good it was, like, I don't know, like maybe she didn't get paid very much, and she hadn't been on this podcast, and she was just kind of like,
well, so like
I don't know.
in like the ranking of the show, like obviously you have James Gandolfini, Tony, of The Sopranos, as top billing, right? He's in every episode. He's almost always. He's in at least 25. I think the lowest amount he was been in an episode that I've seen so far is like 25%, and that was like a really low one. But
you mean
usually,
as far as like how much of the episode he was in?
Yeah, as far as like how much time he has in it, and then it's like the family's usually in it. I think Eddie Falco's his wife is in a lot of them. Carmela, and Chrissy's in a good chunk, but he's like third level, maybe fourth level character, and then Adriana's, his lady, who he's not always with because he's working or whatever you call that. So she's like fifth or sixth level casting. I'm not saying she didn't do a good job because she did a great job. Fantastic. But, it's not like that I've seen there's no episodes centered around her even. So I can understand like being in that position and being like, you're there to support the cast. There's episodes she's not in.
Yeah, she's supporting cast. If you haven't seen them yet, there are episodes that focus a little bit more on her.
There's episodes that have like when she's in it, they're focused on her a little bit, like the restaurant stuff when she's working there with what's his name, the restaurant guy.
Aribuko.
Yeah, Artie. And then she leaves and kind of starts her own, and Chrissy helps her get a. Kind of spoilers here, I guess. Light spoilers. About a sixth level character.
The Buck and Bronco or whatever the club's called.
Yeah, he helps.
Stallion.
Chris helps her get it set up with a club to run and manage and stuff because she's very good at it.
All I'm gonna say is you just wait. You just wait, Josh.
All right.
You just wait because there's gonna be more Adriana.
All right.
For you to watch.
All right. I like Adriana. Honestly, I think Chris is my favorite character. It's kind of a toss up for me between him and Polly.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both just have really good, like, because Polly's an established guy and Chris is an up and comer in the first couple of seasons. Like, he talks about wanting to get made and have some of that privilege and working hard and
great responsibility.
Yeah, all that.
This power.
But it is an American crime drama show, and there is definitely drama of all kinds.
There is. It's a little difficult to talk about. Not like emotionally difficult for me, like I'm gonna cry, but it's difficult for us to talk like because you haven't seen all of it yet.
It's true.
So I can't just be like, oh yeah, then you remember when this happened, and you'd be like, spoilers. You'd be like, well, I guess I just don't have to watch any more of the show then, Nate.
Yeah. Well, and like, it's a little tough. So there's a lot of, like, it is the crime is in the middle there of the American crime drama, and it's definitely there. You know, these are not like good guys or anti-heroes. I mean, it's kind of a show about the bad guys.
I mean, yeah, they're all. Can we swear? We don't swear on this podcast.
We don't really swear on this. I know some of this stuff is like hard to quote because it's like, well, we've been pretty family friendly this far.
Pretty much all of them are pieces of poo-poo, we'll say.
Yeah.
I really want to say something else, especially since we're talking about Sopranos.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not. Very few of the characters in that show are like good.
Yeah.
People.
Carmela probably comes the closest periodically, but even she's kind of like
she kind of has like a conscience on like a little bit, but at the same time it's like and they established this like really early on that she like because she has this like guilt, this like religious this guilt where she's talking to her priest who that's a whole nother thing.
She's very Catholic.
Yes, very Catholic. But she appreciates and enjoys the privilege and the status that comes with being a part of this business.
Yeah.
Waste management. Actually,
yeah.
That's what the business is.
See, that's Tony's cover. Waste management for his stuff, and he's got a office.
So you've seen some episodes where he goes and sits in an office for.
Yeah, and he just sits there. And he's like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna go to the office," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And he's like, "No, like the office," and they're like, "Okay," and you see him. He doesn't know what to do. He sits
just
down
like drawing
and he,
like a marker
doodles,
on like doodling crap, and then he's enticed a bit by an attractive female that works at the office.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he kind of has a couple offices. Like he has the waste management office, but his real office is at the strip club.
Right.
The Bing.
It makes sense if you don't think about it too much.
Is it the Bing?
Is it the Bada
Bada
Bing?
Bing, yeah.
Yeah. The Bada Bing.
Bada Bing. Man.
So yeah, and he's got his. So it starts out in like the boss of his area is really sick, and I think first episode we can tread pretty well on that.
Yeah. What's his name? It's Jackie. Jackie April.
Yeah. Senior.
Yeah.
And Jackie dies, and like right away the show establishes characters really well. There hasn't been anybody who showed up and you're like, who is this guy? Get out of here. They come in and it makes sense and it doesn't feel like shoehorned in or anything. Even when they have Jon Favreau on as himself, it doesn't feel
that was so great.
Forced.
Yeah.
Some celebrity appearances feel really, really forced and kind of dumb, but they all make sense. And all of the characters they just build so well.
Have you seen the Ben Kingsley episode yet?
No. I also haven't seen any Steve Buscemi episodes yet.
When he showed up, I was really shocked, kind of actually, and I was actually kind of like, really?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
keeping an eye out.
I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but not really. But like, so him and Robert Loggia show up. He's an actor.
Okay, check.
He's been in some movies.
Checks out.
Look up a picture of him. You'll be like, oh yeah, that guy.
All right.
Robert Loggia. Loggia. He's in a lot. I mean, he's been in a ton of movies, but I remember him from some 80s movies.
Very okay. Yeah, no, he was the boss in Big.
Yeah, that's it.
He danced on the piano with Tom Hanks.
That's right.
Hey.
Anyway, so like those two guys show up in the same, like at the beginning of the same season. I don't remember which one it is, but seriously, when I saw him show up, I was like, really? It's like it felt like they were just bringing in like, two kind of heavy hitter actors just to bring in big names or something. Like, I don't know. It was almost kind of distracting to me. Not so much Loggia, but
Loggia's
a little
in, like,
bit with
everything,
Buscemi. Just a little bit. I don't know.
Well, Buscemi, so like
It didn't. I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna say anything.
That's probably season
else, but...
from the crumbs they've picked up. It's got to be like season 4, right? Like halfway-ish.
Buscemi is like a cousin.
Yeah.
Of Tony's.
So that would be, 2003. Buscemi's like, I don't know. I feel like he's now a really established actor and kind of a household name, but I don't feel like he was at that point. He's like a face you'd recognize because it's hard to forget.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure how well known he was then. I mean, obviously he'd been in stuff.
Desperado, Lonesome Dove,
Con Air. He was a psycho murderer in Con Air.
Really? I've never seen him
Creepy one.
I've always thought he could play creep really well, but I've never seen him be like full creep.
I mean, it was like mid '90s action, so it's like you couldn't really go like it was mid '90s like mainstream action, so you couldn't be too messed up because he still had to appeal to all those 12-year-olds whose parents were taking him to the taking him to the movie theater.
Yeah, we didn't care about certain things as much in those days.
So
okay. Well, yeah, that kind of makes sense then, especially looking back now.
So yeah, you're right. I wonder if I had that reaction because it's been so long since he was actually on the show, till now, the present, that I know him for all his other work, and I'm like, oh, Steve Buscemi. I mean, I like him. I like him.
Love Steve Buscemi.
But I was just like, it almost like broke up the flow of the show for me. Like when I first, I almost had like this, like dread or anxiety. I'm like, oh God. I'm like,
I feel like the show is jumping the shark a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Like let's bring in these like really huge actors, and it's like bringing Poochie on to The Simpsons or whatever. You haven't seen the Poochie?
No.
He was brought on to Itchy and Scratchy or something like.
I haven't.
He was all like, he's this really cool character called Poochie. He's a dog with his hat on backwards and like sunglasses. And he's like, oh yeah,
nice.
I'm probably doing it completely wrong, but
yeah.
I mean that was like the joke about bringing Poochie on. It's like jumping the shark, kind of bringing on some new character, and the show's going down the toilet. I mean, Sopranos wasn't, but
right.
But it's like that dread you get when you've got this really like core group of friends that you hang out with, and you're like, and you're so used to spending time with them, and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, it's like my cousin Frankie's gonna join our group or something, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I haven't heard that, but we got a good thing going here. I don't know, I don't want to. What's gonna happen? Anyway. It wasn't anything like that. I mean, I will say it was a little bit jarring just because you're like, whoa, it's Steve Buscemi, Robert Loggia. But yeah, it's fine. So you can look forward to it and not have any fear or trepidation.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what season, but it probably, like you said, 4. So
I did not know that Joe Pantaleone. Cypher from The Matrix. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did not know he was going to be in that show. So when he showed up, I was like shocked. I was like, what is he doing here?
Early?
Season 3.
Is that when he shows up? Is season 3?
It's a couple episodes into season 3, and they focus kind of on him a bunch.
I didn't think it was that long. I guess. Yeah, I like him a lot. I mean, his character he's a dick.
Is there any
jerk
character that he's played where he hasn't been a little bit of a scumbucket?
No.
Because I'm not if there are, I'm not familiar.
That's just that's his like thing. That's like his vibe. Like he just has that scummy vibe. Like I remember him, well now from the Sopranos, but before that, it was Cypher, obviously from the Matrix.
Who like as soon as I saw him, I had no experience with this actor before. As soon as I saw him in the Matrix, I was like, he's the traitor. I was like, there's no reason to think there was a traitor. I was like, he's going to do it.
I was going to say, did you even know there was a traitor?
No, I didn't. I was just like, oh, he's not good. Bad news. He's bad news. Look at him. That stupid goatee.
So, Matrix, and then he was like the boss of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys.
That's right. It's been a really long time since I've seen Bad Boys.
I watched that movie a lot for a time. I was like, oh yeah, Taya Leone, Will Smith, yeah, Martin Lawrence, he's funny, yeah.
I remember watching that and being really disappointed by it, honestly. I should go back and watch it again now that I'm more mature and can appreciate things.
I don't think that would help.
Probably not.
I liked it when I was like 12, 13,
some things.
14. I think I bought it on Blu-ray, and it was like a really early Blu-ray, so it probably, I bought it later, so it cost me like $7 or something.
Yeah. And
it wasn't anything special. It was just like, we put the movie on this Blu-ray, yeah. and I watched it again, and I was just like, I remember thinking this was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like this was an awesome. I thought it was so awesome. Like the music and the action, and it had Will Smith, who was amazing.
Michael Bay.
Yeah. Explosions and drama.
I did not see. I don't remember him being in that movie at all. Honestly.
Will Smith?
No. I thought it was Kevin Hart.
Josh, what were you doing?
No, Joe Pacioli. But he was also in Risky Business.
Memento.
I haven't seen Memento. I'm sorry.
Hope you can hear that at home.
It's coming through mine.
I'm disappointed. You should watch Memento because it's great. It has Carrie Ann Moss. It has Joe Pantoliano.
I think I'm justified in why I haven't seen Memento, though, okay? So I had a friend. No, listen to me.
Nope.
Listen to me. I had a friend, and he goes, hey, I watched this movie. It was really good. It was called Memento. And I said, cool. What's it about? And he goes, I don't know. It's just this guy, and he has to, do some stuff. And I went...
trying to solve a crime.
And I said, well... that doesn't sound like a great movie if you can't remember anything else about it. And he was like, oh, it's just so good. You have to watch it. And that was all he would say. Give me something else. And so I never watched it because I thought...
he's trying to solve a murder.
Well, I understand the concept now.
And...
it's all kinds of stuff.
It's a Chris Nolan.
Chris Nolan, yeah. But yeah, was he a scumbucket in that movie too? Spoilers. Even if you say he's not, and he was saintly,
I mean,
I wouldn't believe you.
See his face, you're gonna be like, yeah, he's a scumbag,
right? And he was a scumbag in Risky Business. He was he was a pimp. So yeah, I was just shocked to see him in it, and because I wasn't expecting it at all. Not disappointed. It didn't pull me out. It was fine.
Yeah, because now that you're saying that, I'm thinking of other people who show up, and I was kind of surprised. For whatever reason, Buscemi and Loggia kind of threw me off. Robert Patrick, the degenerate gambler.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't expect him either.
I was like, it's the Terminator. It's a T-1000.
Yeah.
Not the Terminator. He was a Terminator. But
he was a Terminator. Not the Terminator, clearly.
Yes. It's always weird seeing him in, no matter what I see him in, I'm like, it's the T-1000.
I know.
He was in later seasons of the X-Files as an FBI agent.
Was he?
It's the T-1000. Yeah.
I have the same reaction to there's a few. I think there's a few people where I'm always like, aha, it's I mean, like Joe Pantoliano, it's always, even though I saw movies that he was in before The Matrix, I'm like, it's Cypher. Every time.
Yep. It's like whatever whatever point you were in your life, you see you see a movie or some movies and they're like really like stick with you.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, it just marks a point in your life or something, or you're like, this was really great. And then you see people in other movies, you're like, oh, it's that guy from there. Like that's your reference point.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, like the X-Files. Like if I see Duchovny or Gillian Anderson or anything, or I guess any of the other actors, I'm like,
yeah. Mulder,
in the X-Files.
Scully.
It's Skinner.
Skinner. Richard Dean Anderson will always be MacGyver.
Right.
Like,
even though he was in like Stargate, like that was a big show that he was in.
Had a reasonable, television career. No reason to like pigeonhole him that much, but MacGyver was such a big like a cornerstone of my TV childhood that like he's MacGyver. And even watching, like I can't watch the new MacGyver because my response is that's not MacGyver.
That's why I haven't watched the remake of The Stand actually.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit different because it's not quite a TV show. It's like a miniseries.
Yeah.
But it's like that's my favorite Stephen King book, which we talked about in our first episode, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And the TV movie that came out, or the miniseries that came out in like the mid '90s, I just don't think I could watch another like a remake of it. Also, I heard it wasn't very good, so I'm just like, I don't think I want to ruin that.
That's how I am with the Disney live action remakes. Like, I haven't watched any of them since
like Aladdin. Mulan.
Yeah, like why?
Yeah,
the
maybe
animated movies
it's
were
great
fantastic.
for another generation. I don't know, but it's like I already got those.
Some things just can't. You set them. I think you set them up to fail.
Well, because you have this expectation. You're like, okay, this. Watching the show, like whenever, when I watched it and whatever the high point was when I watched it, that is my reference point. And so it's like, it either has to meet or exceed that. Otherwise I'm not going to like it.
I mean, shoot, Amazon just redoing Lord of the Rings, I think is a risk.
Well, they're not redoing it.
No, aren't they? Or are they doing it? Oh, that's right. I still think that's risky.
I mean, I do too.
It could be cool, but I think it's risky.
And you hear people talking about like, oh, when are they going to remake the Lord of the Rings movies?
Never.
They better like, oh God, I hope they don't. Because they're perfect.
Yeah. When they redid, I remember my reaction when they remade the movie Arthur. So it had Dudley Moore in it, who's an English guy, funny man back in the day, 60s or so. And they remade it with, it was the first time I'd ever heard the name. What's that skinny British guy who's like a comedian, but he's also like super political?
Russell Brand?
That's the guy.
Oh, that was
long
like
hair.
a more pretty recent remake, wasn't it?
It was, 12, 13 years ago. I remember seeing that, and I was like, I looked at Eli, and I said, we're not watching this. And he was like, yeah, why would you remake that? Arthur is a classic. Like, tell a new story. You don't need to remake this one. Remake a bad movie and make it and show that the story was good, but maybe the direction was not. And go that direction. Don't take a good movie and remake it later. Do the opposite. Take a bad movie, remake that. That's why like, even when they announced the Many Sins of Newark movie, I was like, oof, I know it's a prequel, but like, I don't know, it just seems it seems too late and too soon at the same time. I don't know how to describe it.
It was just okay. It was pretty like forgettable to me.
I've not heard anybody who was like, that was so good.
And I don't really think it like, because it's supposed to be like all about like the origins of Tony Soprano, and it's just kind of, it's not even really about him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. It's like I definitely didn't like love it. I wasn't blown away by it. It was just kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of one of those cute things where you're like, oh, that guy's playing Junior. Oh, he does a really good job, kind of looking like a younger Junior. Cool.
Like, the best thing about it was that, like, Michael Imperioli, Christopher, Chrissy was the narrator, is what I heard, and that
he was
Gandolfini's son plays Tony in the movie.
Yep.
And, like, that's cool.
Yep.
But, like, that's it.
He does
that's
okay.
Cool.
You look at him and you're like, he looks like James Gandolfini because he's his son. And you're like, he talks and
and he talks.
He talks like he makes noises that kind of sound like, well, you know.
Yeah.
I guess like I think it's Michael Gandolfini, right?
Yeah.
He he hadn't seen The Sopranos until like he was signed on like to do this movie. So he went through and watched the whole thing. And I guess I'd read that there was like he would they'd be shooting a scene and he would kind of do it more like how Tony Soprano would have done it, like in the Sopranos show.
Yeah.
Like how James Gandolfini would have done it. Confident, experienced gangster style, and the director's like, no, it's like you're not, kind of, you're not at that point yet. Like you gotta,
That kind of makes sense. I mean,
and that's fine because it's like he wasn't. I mean, he was a kid. He was a teenager. He wasn't. He shouldn't be acting like a mafia boss.
Exactly.
Yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was fine. It was, those old, those like period movies are always kind of like, oh, what soundtrack rights are they going to get, and what cool old songs are we going to listen to? And it's just like, here's an excuse to play an old song. Cool.
Because it takes place in the 70s?
Is it mid to late 60s?
Okay.
I think.
So did All Along the Watchtower make an appearance?
Oh, God, I don't think so.
I mean, I like that song, but
yeah, it's a fine song.
Anytime there's a period in that general area, they're like, we should get this song.
I'm pretty sure there was some Rolling Stones in there.
Oh, yeah.
When was it set? That's the question. Because it kind of jumps out, because there's a young Tony, like a young, like elementary school Tony, and then it jumps to a high school Tony. When was it set? Tell me. Yeah, like early 70s, late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, sounds about right.
John Bernthal is in it, which we've talked about him before, and it was kind of like he was because he was Tony's father in this movie.
Oh, and okay.
And he
really
is mostly just, I don't know, to use like an Italian accent and just kind of yell, and he was just kind of there for a little bit, and then
that's probably good.
He was just kind of gone. He didn't really do a whole lot. But again, the story wasn't centered around him, but you're just kind of like, it's John Bernthal. And Corey Stoll, who plays Junior, which we remember him from House of Cards as Peter
Russo?
Yes.
He was also in
yes,
Ant-Man. He played the Wasp.
I remember one time
he played Yellow Jacket. I'm sorry.
Spoilers. Haven't seen it.
Really? Are you serious?
Yes. I haven't seen any of the Ant-Man movies.
I don't think you can spoil more Marvel movies.
Yeah, probably not really. I remember when I was going through House of Cards, and I think you were too, and so I sent you like a picture or something of Corey Stoll.
Oh yeah, anytime he shows up.
It was for some movie. I don't know what it was. It was like 5 years ago, so I don't know what movie it was. And I was like, Peter Russo lives. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and he, whatever. It's like he's a really great actor, and it was just like, I don't know. It's like they were just kind of like, puzzle pieces where they're like, okay, so you have to do this, and then okay, that clicks in here, and you do that, and then this, and then okay, now we have Tony Soprano,
right?
And I'm just like, whatever. It just felt really short. Like I get it's like it's a one movie to like give you more details on a 6-season show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's always kind of risky when you're releasing movies that are tied in with shows.
I think that could have been a good show, honestly. Like if you started back with like Junior and Tony's dad, you could have had like an interesting like power struggle a little bit. And
why didn't they just make that into a prequel show? I mean, I'm sure it has something that David Chase probably didn't want to do that or something, but you're right. I think it would have worked better if they could have at least had a few seasons of a show to kind of do that, rather than try and jam it all into a couple hours in a movie.
Yeah, because Junior, even in the first like handful of episodes of the first season, he kind of, you get the impression that he does it because he's like supposed to. Like he's a mob guy because he's supposed to. Like, and that's kind of it. He really has a lot of reluctance to almost.
Oh, you mean like his character?
Yeah.
Like Junior doesn't even really want to maybe doesn't want to do this stuff.
Yeah, and I think they reveal stuff as you go. Like they kind of to me it seems like they reveal that like Tony's father is the one who really pushed him into I don't know, into doing stuff.
Don't forget about Dickie Moltisanti.
Well, So yeah, I don't want to.
Well, but I will say, I think to complete your experience of The Sopranos, I think you should watch the Mini Saints of Newark.
I plan on it.
When you're done.
Yeah, I plan on it. I'm going to watch them all. I've decided to skip on the PlayStation 2 video game that they made.
That's right. They did make a game.
But
you don't have it, do you?
No, I don't. I have. Wait, nope. I have.
You have Scarface?
The Scarface.
I remember when that one came out.
It was so hard to. I didn't play much of it. I couldn't. It was just too much.
Yeah, I think that I was reading about the Sopranos game, and I think it was not well received.
Yeah, in a video game, you got to feel like even video games that are on the rails, there's a direction you're going to go with it if you're going to play the game, right?
Sure.
You have to feel like anything could happen, and if you know where it's going, you start struggling right away. It was different when. Did you ever play the Matrix video game?
Very little.
So that was cool because you weren't Neo. It was like
you're somebody else.
What were these characters doing while Neo was off doing this kind of a thing? And so you could play as Jada Pinkett Smith's character or as her friend.
I can't remember who the other ones were.
Her number 2. Anyway,
I didn't really play it, but
and that was a fun.
Our friend Glenn played it a lot. I recall.
I'm sure he did.
Was that online? Was that an online game?
I don't remember.
It was like an MMO.
No, it was no. I don't remember if there was any online multiplayer. There was like a hacking feature in it where you could attempt to put in codes and stuff to, I don't know what, unlock the Matrix. I never found anything cool, but it doesn't mean there wasn't there. I'm sure Glenn did.
I'm sure he did.
But yeah, there's just a lot of the character development builds really well, and then the tension when there is tension of I don't know. I don't even know if I want to say. Let's just say there's a rat in the house. And they start leaving clues about it, and you're like, who is it? Oh no, who is it? Please don't be him. Please don't be him. Oh wait, no, wait, is it this guy?
That's right.
And I was man, it was an intense, it was kind of stressful. And I was and that made me think, I was like, dang, imagine being one of these guys. The stress. It's no wonder they drink and do drugs. And
I mean, thinking about that, just not just The Sopranos, but any mafia stuff. It's like, you're right. I mean, the stress. I always used to think like all this like mafia, like these rules that they have to follow, and like this this we're disrespected, so we gotta go like teach them a lesson. And it's just like, I remember that when I think I was reading The Godfather, like, because I think, you'd been like, you should read The Godfather, so I was like, all right, I'll read The Godfather.
That's a great book.
Yeah, it was good. And these like just, it just feels like silly to me sometimes. Like, they're like, well, it's almost like, well, this guy called me a jerk, so we got to go kill him now. It's like, oh, okay, really?
Yeah. And it's like they do like delve into, because I remember watching oh my goodness, Goodfellas, and they're talking about like how desperately Joe Pesci's character wants to be made, right? And how important it is, and blah blah blah. They don't really explore why you would want that necessarily, except that you're like in the club, and even like all the other, you name it, movies, Donnie Brasco or Goodfellas, or Godfather is definitely a different feel. They don't talk about being made in that, but like they don't really explore a little more of the ins and outs of like what that means. Like, what does that mean? And they do in The Sopranos, and they talk about how like, if you're a made guy, then you can't just whack him. Like, you can't even really, you're not even supposed to like hit them. You got to get permission. Yep. And like, you got to get it cleared, and then it's got to be okayed, and it's got to come back, which is kind of nice because I think it reduces, assuming you're following the rules, which is odd to say about criminals.
They don't even follow their own rules.
Sometimes they don't. Yeah. Then it's supposed to give you like a layer of protection from other made guys.
So you won't have all these like big power plays just constantly, because it's like,
and from guys who aren't made, suddenly you've got something that they don't.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I don't know, like an NFT. Okay, hear me out, because NFTs are really hot, right? And you're like, if you own this NFT, which is just a digital, non-existent thing
that someone could just right click and save as anyway, or whatever.
It's just the privilege of owning it. It's fake. It's currency that literally has no value. It's not based on anything except what other people think that it does, not what it actually does. Okay? Because like money, you exchange for goods and services. You can do that with an NFT, but like, it just... It's like a weird
this low pixel picture for
$10,000. Yeah. So it's just like a really low nebulous form of currency, and that's kind of what, to me, that's what like they describe being made as in Sopranos. Is he's like when I won't spoil it, when a dude becomes made. Suddenly there's other dudes who are like, oh man, hey, like, can we go and do this? Is that cool? Can we do this score? And he like says yes or no, and they got to do it. And if they don't, then he'll like smack them around, and they can't touch him back, because if they do, they got the family.
Yeah, and another thing, like when people are made, it's like, the just rank and file, or just nobody thug types that are just these losers that encounter somebody in the restaurant or in the street or something, and they're just decide to mess with them, and then later they find out that person was made, and then it's just like, oh well,
they freak out, and they gotta like try and make amends, and sometimes they just get whacked. Yeah.
So that's something else that these people that aren't made, should, I guess, in that world, should be thinking about, but obviously they don't, because
it's just like being initiated into a gang.
that
is what it is, I guess. I don't know. I think of gangs and like thugs as a little different than the mafia, probably just because it's, in a lot of movies and shows, it's romanticized, but it's not really any different.
Right, yeah. It's like they all...
steal and they
all
maim and
they all
kill
like
and...
have like business ventures, or they you know they're doing something. They're running some. I mean, the mafia has all kinds of different rackets and stuff that they're doing, and I mean, so do other organized crime.
Yeah,
I guess you call it. I mean, I guess I don't know if all gangs are affiliated with organized crime necessarily.
I think if you're in a gang, it's an attempted organized crime.
Sure.
It's attempted
I guess
crime.
like how big it is, like how big of a gang. I guess that's interesting. I guess I don't know, like,
because the idea is that you have people that you can depend on.
Sure.
And even within your group, there are certain rules and stuff.
Like,
it's honestly, it's like why. So we have a mutual friend, and we'll use his code name of the albino rhino.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I know what
Okay.
you're talking about.
So, which is not to be confused. I want to be clear to any listeners who are familiar with a different person that is referred to as rhino, not the same person. Okay, the albino rhino and rhino are not the same.
I don't
Thank
even know. I don't know who Rhino is.
That's fine. So yeah, you might not. Anyway, so the albino rhino wants me to join.
Like right now.
Yes, actively. Not since COVID started, honestly, because I haven't seen him as much. He is desperate for me to join his chapter of the Lions Club.
Okay.
And you join up and you pay dues, and then they pass around like a I don't know what to call it except an offering plate, I guess, for you to like contribute to whatever like that week's cause is. And then sometimes they do like aggressive campaigns, and good work too. But they'll do like campaigns, especially for like glasses for. I think one of the major campaigns of the Lions Club is like glasses for third world countries, and they have like principles that are like on banners at this chapter that they put up and you recite, and it's like, is it true? Is it kind? Is it helpful or something? It's real short. And they get together, and for a while they got together at the Grand Italian Buffet every first Tuesday of the month or whatever,
rest in peace
for
Grand
lunch.
Italian Buffet.
Good riddance.
What? Really?
I hate the Grand Italian Buffet.
it?
I do.
See,
I refuse to eat there.
Well, now
for the last couple of years.
You got your wish because it's closed.
I eat a lot of weird stuff. I eat a lot of stuff that's been like on the counter for questionable amounts of times. It doesn't bother me. Like, I'm fine with it. My constitution is intact.
You should have no problem eating there then.
Makes me ill.
Wow.
Yeah. So
really?
Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
So like
I've
when I
never
went,
had a problem there.
I had to go there for work to represent like my office at a Lions Club meeting, and I was like, what do I do? Because I don't want to be rude.
You couldn't eat salad.
They were paying, and that's what I did. I ate salad. That was it. I ate salad, and I had
ice cream,
a little bread. That was it. Anyway,
we need to come back to this.
We
I'm
can
interested to hear more about.
That's a whole episode, I think.
Okay.
I could rant for days about how much I hate that place.
Well, you got your wish because it's gone.
I know. I'm happy.
All right. Anyway, so he asked you to join the Lions Club.
Yeah. So he wanted me to join the Lions Club, and like, I said to him, albino rhino. He doesn't know that's his nickname.
AR.
I was like, AR.
Listen.
Like, why? What are my responsibilities if I join? And he goes, well, there's dues, and then it's nice if you can put a couple of bucks in the plate when you come, and then you pay a discounted rate for lunch, and you need to show up to a certain percentage of meetings.
So all I'm hearing right now is you have to pay money.
Right. And I said, okay. I said, but like, think about this in modern terms, because I looked around the room. I'm not like a kid anymore. I'm an adult. I'm firmly in the adult category.
Sure.
Yes. Mid-30s. And I don't look like I'm a teenager anymore either. And I look around the room. Everybody in the room is at minimum 15 to 20 years older than me. And that's the next youngest person. And it gets older from there. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But like, I was like, AR, like, what does this do for me? Because this is a big time commitment. We're not really just talking about money. We're talking about time.
How often do you have to meet?
I know, it's like it's like lunchtime on a Tuesday. Once a month or every, I don't know. So it's not like super frequent, but it's frequent enough that like I'd have to schedule time out of work and show up and stuff. And I was like, if I'm going to give to a charity, I'll just give you, why don't I just give you some money then? And we can just leave it at that. And he was like, no, man, you really got to like come to our meetings and hang out with us and stuff. And I was just like, but there's nothing in it. He goes, what? I said, seriously, tell me one thing. And he goes, oh, well, if you move to a new town, you can go to a Lions Club meeting anywhere, and you automatically have a set of friends for you. And I thought, this is some mafia nonsense right here. This is like, you pay.
That was the best he could come up with?
It was. And he was like, well, sometimes we have guest speakers. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll just show up. Are you going to kick me out or anything? And he was like, well, no, but you won't know about him. And I was like, I have ears, albino, rhino. I can absolutely figure this stuff out. I was like, honestly, I was like, I'm the wrong person for this. I understand why you want me to be here, but I'm too young for you.
He's just trying to get his numbers up.
He was like, I don't think there's recruitment requirements though. He was just like,
he's doing it for fun.
Yeah, he wanted me there, and I was like, it's real nice that you want me here. I was like, I mean that, but I was like, honestly, I'm involved in other charity work. I do other things, and I put my time and I volunteer in other places. So really what you're asking me to do is to say no to them and yes to you, and you are not offering me anything. I like what I'm doing in the other places. Not that I don't like you guys, but I don't like you enough.
He's asking you to pay lots of money.
And it's just like a low-level thing. It's like you pay, you abide by the rules, and like, boom, you got all these people, you know? And he was like, well, if you find another charity project, though, you could, like, if you're a member, you can bring it to us, and if we vote that we'll do it, then we can, like, support that for you for a week or whatever. And I was like, see, I have to pay for the privilege to ask you for money? I'm out.
When you first told me that somebody had asked you to do something, a few minutes ago, I was like, is he gonna say some like multi-level marketing scam? They're gonna be like, how do you feel about Cincy?
So there was, sorry, Eli. I don't think he listens. Sorry, Eli, but Eli got into some, I can't even remember what it was called, but he went to this meeting and it was like, it was multi-level marketing stuff.
Was it Cutco?
No, it was.
Because I got sucked into that.
It was like a vacation one.
Oh,
and so
like
he was like,
timeshare or something?
No, not really like a timeshare, but but basically a timeshare. Just it works slightly different. And he was like, well, yeah, I mean, if you do it, it's not about, what did he say? He's like, it's not about buying a product. It's about creating memories and experiences. And I went,
ugh. But you have to pay.
When you start reciting those words back to me, that's the red flag for me. Like when I can hear some like schlick guy up on a stage like pouring this into you, just coming straight back to me, it's like, that's when I know there's a problem. And he had this little like banner thing and stuff. And anyway, yeah, multi-level marketing is definitely like some sort of a weird, I don't know,
stay away from that stuff.
Mafia thing. Guy at the top is like, listen, you 5 guys? What if you get 5 guys? And if you don't get them, I'm going to cut you out. Right? I haven't been to 5 Guys in forever.
I haven't either. We
should go soon.
It's been a while. Yeah, we should.
Solid burger.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Unbelievable amount of fries.
Greasy is all get out.
Oh yeah, got to run there.
My son can't eat those. They're made in the peanut oil. But yeah, the burger's all right. Don't they have hot dogs there too?
No idea.
I think they do. I'm probably totally wrong.
Anyway, that's not really the same thing, but it's what it reminded me of a little bit. Like you're in, and it's like,
yeah,
like what do you get out of this? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Security? The Mafia is a better deal than the Lions Club, right? The Mafia, it's like you got a chance to earn some money, you got to get some protection. If you're associated with these Mafia folks, you get, the Mafia.
As portrayed in The Sopranos.
Pablo Escobar.
Oh, geez.
Is beloved.
That's true.
In his home community because he did a lot of charity work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he poured a ton of money into his home community, and I'm sure the mafia also pours a bunch of money into charitable things, like
Al Capone,
the Christmas thing.
started giving out Christmas turkeys or hams or something like that as like during the Depression when nobody had work and stuff. He was giving out food. He started like soup kitchens, and like some of those charities are still running from what I understand. I don't know how they're funded, but anyway, you know.
So it's like bad guys do good work, you know? It's like, I mean, you know, Sopranos, they had their little Christmas thing at the meat shop.
Yeah, that's right.
Vito was
Oh man,
Santa Claus, wasn't he? He was, yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, I'm like, the Mafia sounds better than the Lions Club. I mean, although if you screw up in the Lions Club, you're not going to get shot.
No, probably not. I didn't think. Well, I didn't ask about that actually. I probably should have. Like, what are the repercussions?
How do I get out of this organization?
He'll be like, you know why they call me the albino rhino?
Mess with the rhino.
You get the horn. Yo, I said, you know, yeah, maybe some other time. He was like, well, there's another chapter that meets downtown. They have a crowd that's probably more your speed.
My speed.
Meaning younger. I'd still said no.
Oh, man. So where do they meet now?
I have no idea. I don't know. I could ask. Maybe I should. I should ask.
I'm not.
I got a friend.
I'm not interested. Just, you know, in case.
I got a friend who was in for a bit. I don't know if she's still in. I don't know if she got out.
Did you make it out?
Escaping Lions Club.
It's like Scientology.
Apologies to any members of the Lions Club who are listening. Give me a better reason to join. And better food. And we can talk.
Yeah, I mean, the Grand Italian Buffet is kind of pricey for a.
It's outrageous.
I mean, just in general.
When you pay for
pricey.
food poisoning, that's a bad deal.
I never got food poisoning from it.
I got sick. I've gotten sick like 3 times eating there. First time was at like one of my last outings with our old first job.
Really?
Yeah, one of those. Like I ate something and it just.
Is that when it turned for you, or you've always hated it?
Ever since when it became the Grand Italian Buffet, I could hardly eat there anymore.
So that would have been like 2002 or something.
I don't know
when that happened.
Yeah, when they went strictly buffet and like pre-made, half-assed kind of like pizza that's been under the heat lamps for 12 hours. I just, for what you're paying, like eat something else. Like I get it because there was like pizza and the bread and like fried chicken and the pasta,
chicken and mashed potatoes.
But like honestly, like you'd be better off getting like Pizza Hut and KFC in a single outing. That's fine.
Don't they have those combined in some places?
I'm sure they do. Not here.
Now, okay, so folks listening at home, the Grand Italian Buffet is a place. It's a restaurant called Valentino's here in Lincoln. They have other locations throughout Nebraska and maybe Iowa,
maybe
South Dakota. I don't know. They're a quote Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what the Sopranos would think of Valentino's.
I don't think they would like it.
What would an Italian person, or
I don't know.
It doesn't matter if they're mafia folks or not. What would they think of, of a Nebraska, like a Nebraska-based Italian restaurant?
I'm sure it was good. So I remember going there when I was a kid, right? Like they did these things in the school called high fives. And if you, like, I don't know, were an exemplary student that week, you might get awarded a high five, and it was like a free trip for Valentino's. And I remember going as a kid, and like they had a small buffet area that was mainly pizza and salad, kind of typical. Mm-hmm. Maybe pasta, I can't remember. But then they also had a menu, and you could choose, and that way, if you wanted like a specialty pizza, you'd order it off the menu, and they'd bring it to your table.
Right.
That kind of thing, and that was nice. Like I remember eating there and being like, "This is okay."
Mm-hmm.
And then just and then like the highlight was Valentino's to go spaghetti. It came in like a gallon bucket. It was literally just a bucket of spaghetti. Like sauce mixed in, not on top. It was like all mixed up already. So you just clumped that thing out, and it was.
Did it have like meatballs in it, or was it just like?
No.
It was just gravy and macaroni.
Yeah. So in The Sopranos, Joe Cypher, I can't call him anything else. He calls his spaghetti macaroni, and like all of the guys call the marinara sauce gravy. Hey, what's the gravy? So there's like this scene where they go to Italy, and they bring him like something that's not covered in red sauce, basically. And Paulie's like, "Hey, where's the gravy?" And of course, the poor Italian guy's like, "Scusi?" And so they had to like,
yeah, that's right.
Had like 3 levels of translation, and finally they get it, and they're like, "Ah, see," and they start talking to him like he's an idiot. So it was a great episode because they really shows like there's a big difference between like New Jersey Italian and like Italian. Yeah. And even there's a big difference between like other Italian Americans in the show versus, mafia Italian.
Yeah, like...
So I can't imagine what they'd say about Valentino's.
Well, and it's like... I mean, maybe when it started way back in, like, the 50s? Like, way out on, like, by East Campus, UNL East Campus, the original restaurant.
Oh, I thought you meant, like, the mafia, and I was like,
no.
What are you talking about?
No, yeah, I'm talking about Valentino's.
The Nebraska mafia. Valentino's.
I mean... Maybe it started like with real authentic flavors and stuff like that, but I mean,
so in about 2001, 2002, I remember my dad driving up from Sierra Vista, Arizona, and when his friends found out, they all started like shoving money into his hand, saying, "Bring us back some of that pizza. Bring us back some of that Valentino's pizza." And I was like,
from Nebraska?
No, I can't remember how they had it. Maybe he had some leftovers or something. I don't know. So I remember him going like, "Yeah, I got to head out, but I got to stop at Valentino's to get like 30 pizzas and load up my trunk and ferry this pizza down to Arizona." And I was like, "But why? It's not like," even at that time, I was like, fine. It was fine pizza. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was better. It's a time. I ranked it higher than like Pizza Hut. It was probably even with Papa John's for me. And I was just like, but I can't imagine why.
That's not an uncommon thing. Like people who, I don't know if they grow up here, they come to college here, and then they move back away. Some go back home or move somewhere else, and they're like, "Oh my God, we got to get Valentino's pizza. It's the best." And I'm like, I remember, so my relationship with Valentino's kind of like back in the day when I was a kid or teenager here in Lincoln, and I would hear about that and people would be like, "Oh my God, yeah, I love Valentino's pizza. Oh my God, every time I come here I gotta get some, or I tell my friends to bring some back for me." And I'm just like, ew, Valentino's pizza is gross.
It's just okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was just being all like edgy teenager, like it's terrible. But I would I would eat it. I ate it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't really get it then. And now that I've, my stance is softened, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Whatever.
If you get it to go and it's freshly made pizza, it's fine.
Yeah. One thing I will say is like, it's really doughy. Not like undercooked doughy. It's just like, there's a lot of crust. It's very, like the crust is, it's there.
Yeah,
you know it.
It needs to be cooked a little longer, and the gravy's a little spicy. Like it's got a tang to it that I actually like.
A little bit of sweet-ish, but maybe a little bit of spice to it.
I don't know. Something.
I'm like, really? This is like the pinnacle of like your flavor experience is Valentino's pizza. I mean, to be fair, they're coming to Nebraska, so it's just they're like, what exactly do we have to offer? But it's like we could probably do better than this.
Yeah, we
got Runza's. We got
Runza's way better an example of like.
But I mean, Runza's not even
food.
like
it's not Nebraska
thing.
It's kind of Midwestern.
It's just like it's sauerkraut.
Kind of, yeah.
In a dough thing.
I mean, I had Southern California pizza where there's like a ton of places like fighting to be the best and like the best priced and stuff, and it's like, well, we got all these places and we come out here and then like Valentino's, and you're just like,
So what if you would plop a Valentino's down in Southern California?
I think
would it go under in like a week?
They'd probably kill you. I don't even think they'd wait. They'd be like, well, you brought this here to my house?
Trash.
Yeah. So the weird thing is that I remember as a kid, my favorite place was Round Table Pizza in California. And I went back years ago. Mm-hmm. Man, probably 8 years ago, maybe 10. And I was like, it's probably terrible by now. I know it's not the same. Oh, I want to eat it. Mm-hmm. I want to go and get a Round Table Pizza. So we did. It was good. Like, it tasted like what I remember it tasting like. It was very weird.
Wow. That doesn't happen very often. You know, you're not like, because it's always colored by your memory and of the past and your rose-colored glasses, and you get there and you're like, ugh. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it would be kind of funny man, that'd be a cool premise for a TV show. To like
characters from a show,
make like a fake, like, a fictional like Nebraska pizza / Italian restaurant that thinks that they're like all traditional and like original, and they're like, you know what? We got such a great product here. We're gonna move to New Jersey, and we're gonna open up a restaurant there.
Oh man, yeah.
And then
that'd be fun.
So they're just thinking their stuff is just like awesome, and you got all these like Jersey folk, whether they be mafiosos or not,
doesn't matter,
and they're just like hijinks ensue.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be
fun.
That'd be fun. That'd be a good show. I'd watch it.
We should write that. Basically just be like bashing Valentino's like all the time.
Specifically the Grand Italian Buffet. Not so grand, not so Italian, definitely buffet.
So I know you said we could talk about this later, but I'm like, I didn't mind the Grand Italian Buffet because, I mean, honestly, look at me. I like to eat a lot. It shows.
I like to eat too, man.
Shows. But like, I would go there and I would find stuff there that I wanted that I would eat, and I was like, I never had any bad experiences. I just don't understand.
I envy you.
I mean,
sir.
it's not like I was blown away, and I mostly, I came out of it, miserable because I'm full of food, not miserable because I'm like
the pitfalls
poisoned,
of a buffet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would be. So that's what I thought. Like the first or second time I got real sick after eating there, I was like, I gotta be careful next time I go. It's too easy to like just keep going up and trying stuff or whatever. And so the last time we went, my in-laws wanted to go. That's like their place. And again, it's like those memories. They went to college here. They have a friend here who, was in their class. Folks. And they were like, yeah, we're going to take you guys to Valentino's. And it was like, okay. And at the time I was still like, all right, I mean, I don't have to pay for it. Let's go. And then I was like, I told my wife, I was like, all right, don't let me go crazy here. We're going to keep it real tight. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna have this. I'm gonna have this. Let's be real careful. And we went, yeah. And she went, yeah, me too. I said, okay, cool. And we did. Kept it real tight. Didn't go crazy. Didn't eat anything that was. I mean, once in a while at a buffet, you can spy something and be like, I don't think I should eat that.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Shouldn't touch that. You should take that away. Toxic waste. No, real careful. So sick.
Still got sick, huh?
I got sick while I was there. I started going downhill.
Wow.
It was bad. And I was like, are you feeling okay? And she was like, no. I think she was like, and she pointed at one of the things. She was like, I think it was this. I was like, I don't remember. It was just one of those fluky things.
I'm like, what are you eating there? I mean, I'm just like,
nothing crazy. Like I had a little pizza, a little bread.
You got pasta, you got bread.
Probably had some salad.
You got salad. I mean, but salad's everywhere.
Salad's everywhere. I know. And I didn't eat anything. Like they didn't have alfalfa sprouts or any of those like things that you might get. I don't know, E. coli from.
Specials.
Yeah, Not that was a big concern, but I was just like, I'll just stay away from certain things. No,
like, questionable fish dishes or anything.
I couldn't. I
think they had like fish fillets maybe at some point there.
I'd be too scared to try fish at Valentino's.
They're like, let's just offer everything and just do it semi poorly
Right.
for the masses.
That's actually one of my favorite episodes that I've seen is when Tony gets food poisoning.
Oh yeah,
because he like, and he blames it on Artie, but like you can't tell at first if it's food poisoning or if it's just because he ate like a huge meal at one restaurant, went to another one and ate another huge
Indian
meal.
I think it was Indian food.
Yeah.
He ate Indian food, and then he comes to Artie's Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
And what does Artie give him? Is it like
it's like oysters?
Is it oysters? It is oysters
like
because he was with Vito, right? He was with Vito and somebody else, and
he ate a huge meal and then ate a huge meal on top of that, and I was just like, I was watching that episode. I was like, oh, I'm so full and I haven't eaten today. Oh my word. And then he goes home, and when he starts hurling, I was just like, I lost it. That was hilarious to me.
I love how they had the fake like fart, like poop sounds. It's like,
yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty
just
bad. Oh man, yeah, that was.
And then he was like blaming Artie for a while.
Yeah, he's like, you did this to me. And that but that kind of like sums it up. It was like a funny way to show like his paranoia. Like anything wrong, you got to eat somebody else. They're trying to get you.
To me.
Oh man. Yeah.
So speaking of food, like watching Sopranos, that episode not, withstanding the, you take that one out. There's a lot of you get hungry when you watch that show.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if there's no food in the episode, I am hungry and I want to eat some pasta.
Mm-hmm. I want Carmela to make me some coffee, and
at her famous monocle.
Yep.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Menegat.
Eat
your Menegat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony like rifling through the fridge, like pulling out gabagool.
There's a new prosciutto in there. Really good. Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah. So that actually I made something. I keep thinking I don't know what I found. I found some sort of beef slices somewhere. It wasn't pastrami and it wasn't just like straight roast beef. It was some kind of deli slices.
Oh, you were telling me about that, where you threw it in a pan.
And I was I was watching The Sopranos, and I was like, oh my goodness, I think I gotta eat something, and I was like, I'm just gonna cook up leftovers, and I took like, I don't know what, balsamic vinegar and olive oil and peppers and onions and like this beef stuff that I had, and a little gravy, and like reduced that down a bit, and then and then I had a bunch of like fresh mozzarella. So I put a bunch of that fresh mozzarella in there and like put that over my noodles. And then at the last second, I put in some spinach to kind of wilt down, like Noodles and Company style. Put that over my noodles. It was really good.
Was it?
But I can't remember exactly what I did with it. So
now you know you can't make it again.
I don't know if I could. I probably can't make it again.
Yeah, I watching that show. I more than once I ordered some like pasta.
Oh yeah.
I ordered pasta. I ordered some some Italian style sandwiches.
Yeah, the sandwiches too. Every time I'm just man. Show me the carbs.
Yeah, a lot of good food. I think they've made like cookbooks.
There's got to be, right?
Cookbooks.
Yeah.
And
should find me one of those.
I had to Google a lot of stuff that they said, like a lot of the Italian slang, that they said. I'd be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I mean, Sopranos is just a great show. It's
another one of those, like, it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. It's pretty dark.
Some of the episodes are super dark.
It is dark.
Super
very
dark.
But there is some humor in some of it, and it's full of great performances. Like, it's not miscast at all. Although
none that I've seen.
I'll be interested to see what you think about Buscemi and like when he shows up.
Yeah.
And Loja. Just, kind of, because it is the beginning of a season. So you finish one season and then you're like, pop into the next one and you're like, oh. But yeah, I think overall, it's all just very well. All the characters, all the actors, very well done. Writing is good. Music's good. I mean, it's just a great show.
Yeah, I love the opening theme song.
Yep.
100%.
Woke up this morning.
Bought myself a gun. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
That band is called, is it Alabama 3?
Yes. I believe so.
Alabama.
Couldn't have pulled it out on my own, but since you mentioned it, yes, that is the...
It's a great song, great show. Like, when I see... Okay. So, you know how HBO has, like, the... At the beginning of every episode, they have that, like, stat.
Yeah.
Like, I got so used to The Sopranos, you know, it would be like, and then it would start the theme song.
Yeah.
Like, then I finished Sopranos, and then I started watching Game of Thrones, and it threw me off every time I was watching that, because I'd be like, oh, it's going to jump into Tony driving in the car. It's like, oh. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else we've spent?
I mean, I'm getting hungry. Just talking about The Sopranos, I'm like, I got some pasta in the fridge.
I know,
gravy
like,
on there.
dude, we've been talking about Valentino's, which, you
got
know.
that antipasta that I bought today from the Costco. Where all the Italian Nebraskans shop.
That's where Valentino's gets all their supplies.
Oh, no, it isn't.
No. Yeah, it's really sad that James Gandolfini is dead.
It really is, because everything he was in is just... He does an amazing job in all of it.
He's a great, just amazing actor. And, yeah, it's just too bad. I mean, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, so when you finish the show, you should check out that USA Today clip where it's like a 20-year reunion with a bunch of the cast. They've got pretty much all the main characters. That Drea de Matteo, whatever. She is not there.
I bet if she had an easier last name to pronounce.
She's not there. Gosh, who else? But like Artie Bucco, his wife, Junior, Vito.
Junior's still alive?
Yeah.
Dang.
Paulie, Chrissy, Carm, Melfi, and the kids, Meadow and AJ. I think that's it.
Nice.
But yeah, it's, they have, they're just reminiscing, and it's great just to, hear them talk about it. So it's good.
I'll check that out for sure. I've been looking forward to it.
All right. Well,
cool. Well, that's The Sopranos. Everybody, if you feel like checking it out, let us know what you think.
If you come to Nebraska, just check out Valentino's so you can see what.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Especially if you're from the East Coast, or if you're in the Mafia. Although if you're in the Mafia,
tell us why you listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
I'd like to know.
I'd be curious about that. So speaking of that, I guess Gandolfini got some anonymous call from someone in the Mafia, and they were like, and it was while the show was being filmed, or what was going on, and they're like, hey, yeah, we think you're doing a great job and everything.
Oh, geez. I don't know if I'd want that call.
You're doing a great job, but a Mafia boss doesn't wear shorts.
They were briefs? Or
like short
pants.
Like cargo.
He does wear
shorts. Yeah.
Shorts in a couple episodes. Not very often though.
So there's they make a joke out of it basically, like where who is it? The main like New York boss guy.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it or not.
New York. I've seen some in New York.
But I don't know.
Come to town for.
Should I say this? I don't know if I want to ruin this.
Nah, don't spoil it.
It's just.
I love it when like shows or movies weave in jokes that people make about like criticism like that, because that's just.
Yeah, so they reference that.
It's a TV show.
There's a scene in one episode where they reference that. But he got a call from the Mafia, and they're like some anonymous call, like some number that was like unknown or whatever, and they're like, yeah, you're doing a great job, but Mafia boss doesn't wear shorts.
The shorts.
Yeah. So Sopranos, great show. Like Josh said, I mean, it's possible, I guess, that it may not be for you. I mean, because it is a dark show and it's about the mafia, so it's violent and there's
some of the episodes with Cypher got really, really dark for me, and I was like, they better end this real quick because we got to get out of this place.
Yeah. Yeah, there's sex, there's swearing, there's violence, but I mean, it was on HBO, so I mean, it's like that stuff is so definitely not unheard of. So
it kind of became their hallmark a little bit.
But yeah, it's a great show, just an awesome part of TV history, and just check it out. So, with that said, you can check us out on all the various socials, the Twits and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and even the MySpace.
Yes.
The Open Eclectic, all one word. You could email us. It's theopeneclectic@gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
And yeah, so thanks for listening, and we'll catch you later.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Hey, but you got to get over it. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
All right. We'll see you.
Thank you so much for listening. You can find The Open Eclectic on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and MySpace. Want us to ramble on about something specific or have a comment on what you just heard? Send us an email at theopeneclectic@gmail.com. We now have a Ko-Fi if you feel like supporting the show. That's ko-fi.com/theopeneclectic. Or support the show by leaving us a review. Thanks. We hope you'll join us again next time on The Open Eclectic.